Men, us men, never lose blood. Like women naturally lose blood throughout their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't lose blood. So we carry a lot of iron in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And you always heard iron is not good. You know, how often do we hear antioxidant, right?
Yes.
You know, take antioxidant pills or drink wine because it helps you.
Uh-huh.
Well, men who give blood regularly remove some of that iron
Okay.
back outside of our bodies, and it makes us, our organs, everything inside healthier.
Uh-huh. Welcome to the LHP podcast. My name is Marcelo. I'm the host. And once again, this week, we have someone very special on our show that's going to talk to us a little bit about the importance of saving lives. That is the theme for our topic today. We want to ensure that we give the El Paso community power. What kind of power is this? We're talking about the power to save a life. How do you do that? Well, you meet some very important, intelligent people that are out in our community that are pretty much educating us on the importance of being able to reach out to those in need and to encourage us and to motivate us, because it's very difficult and very scary to actually do this for a lot of people, which is donating blood. So for today, we have our special guest, Mr. Martin Gomez from the El Paso Blood Bank. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Marcelo.
And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, we want to go ahead and start off by talk to us a little bit about yourself and how you how you got into this business. And not only that, Martin, but I know you'd mentioned that you're from Mexico also. And this would be our first show where we could actually, jump from language to language. Español, también en inglés. Pues hay que hacerlo en castellano también y pues poder comunicarnos con la gente que nos está ahorita escuchando. ¿Cómo ves?
Claro que sí, Marcelo.
Awesome. Alrighty. So talk to us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So again, born and raised in Chihuahua, Mexico, Marcelo. Actually, the blood bank is the story why I'm here. The story of what I'm about to share is the reason that I became part of this organization. I am the youngest of a family of four. All my life, I spent it in Chihuahua. Then through a change of jobs, I ended up in Juarez, and then eventually in El Paso. And so I work for Vitalin Blood Bank, and it's kind of an interesting story because our name is more recognized as United Blood Services, which is the blood bank here in El Paso for about, we're almost going to go on close to 60 years serving this community. We are the only provider of blood and blood products in this area, servicing a total of 19 hospitals. And the region we cover is El Paso, southern New Mexico.
How many hospitals again?
19.
All right, so this whole region. What's the furthest hospital you guys?
I think the furthest we go is probably Silver City.
Okay.
Deming, that area. There's smaller hospitals, but nevertheless, we service all of that area. And hospitals, Marcelo, could not operate without this product. I mean, it's needed prior to a surgery. Is needed on an emergency upon arrival of somebody who's been involved in a car accident. If you're gonna get a transplant, you need to have blood. Premature babies need blood. Mothers at birth, sometimes they might need a couple of units. But the highest users of blood and blood products, Marcelo, are patients with cancer. You don't really think about that. You always think about probably car accidents, but no, the highest users and up to 40% of the total usage comes from these patients because as I was explaining to you before we started.
Yes. This is interesting what you're about to say.
So cancer is treated with chemo. And so chemo has the job to go and kill bad cells in our bodies, but it doesn't recognize it, and it kills the good cells too. So without blood and platelet transfusions, Marcelo, patients would not be able to have this treatment. The blood has to be there. In fact, they schedule blood transfusion and chemo kind of together, because they know that your red cell count and your platelet count is going to drop.
So it goes hand in hand. Thank you for mentioning all this, because I'm completely in the dark. I want to be able to give this information to somebody who's watching this podcast, and right away they can relate. All right, how do we save lives? Okay, this is the way we save lives,
Exactly.
and this is the way it happens. So you're saying both of those things collaborate together. The client that goes in for the medication, plus you guys that go in for the blood services.
Yeah, we always say that blood is like medicine. It's prescribed by a doctor. It's going to improve your health, if not save your life. And so, and as I was saying, even with today's technology, where we can, go out of space, we can travel long distances and a high speed, and with artificial intelligence, yet blood cannot be made in the lab.
They can't.
They've tried to make blood, and it just can't. You just can't. So it has to come the old traditional way, from one human being to another, and so it requires, from the selfish act of one human being, Marcelo, to roll up your sleeve, stretch your arm, and take that needle, which is in many cases one of the reasons why people are afraid to give. Every day I hear, I'm afraid of the needle. Okay. So,
yes.
I don't expect you to like the needle. In fact, I always say, if you like needles, we probably don't want your blood. Right?
Yeah. Martin, I mean, you have public speaking, then you have snakes, and then you have needles.
Needles.
Yeah. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Some people are really afraid.
I really think, Marcelo, that when we approach the blood donation from the perspective of the patient, and you think about, every time I give blood, I always think that my blood is going to end up in a child, but I don't know who is going to receive my blood. In fact, I will never know. It's not disclosed. But it puts me at ease to think that it could be a child. And so I take that needle, because at the end, it doesn't hurt, but it's something that you have to try by yourself. And so remove that fear by thinking that we have something inside of our veins that carry life to others. And in just a few weeks, our body will produce more. So you'll get your blood cells again, you'll get your platelets again, because our body is perfect.
How long does it take, more or less, to... I know everybody's biology is different.
Yeah,
but
it will take about 2 months to get your red cells back again. But the pint, when you donate blood, you donate a pint. That's about 500 mils. That's about where's the can of
water?
Can
maybe
of water. Yeah,
one
bottle
of
of water.
these, maybe.
This. You see, this is it. This is what you donate. Okay. And we leave enough in your body to keep going. Okay. We will never jeopardize your health for helping others. In other words, giving a pint is fine. You don't require anything special other than the day you donate, to just do not do a heavy exercise.
Yes. And people sometimes make that.
People make the mistake. They go to the gym, they run.
The other day, I mean, not too long ago, my brother and I are big mountain bike guys, and we decided to do Lost Dog Trail. And he had donated blood, and he's like, "Oh, well, let's go ahead and take a quick spin on the bike." But he knew that he didn't have the energy, so we're going to do something light. And he couldn't even take a little brief spin around the trail because it was just too much. He was getting tired and fatigued. So people need to understand that.
People need to know that the only thing you're going to do different is that the day you donate, do not do any heavy exercise. Other than that, your life continues the same. And so that's one thing, removing the fear of the needle. And then the second thing, because we once did a survey and asking people, why don't people give blood? Let me ask you, Marcelo, besides the fear of the needle, what else comes to your mind? Why do you think people don't give blood? If you could answer one
The
thing.
biggest fear, because I was working as a I've been working as a health educator all my entire life. I was an HIV/AIDS counselor, so we're thinking maybe along the lines of perhaps some sort of pathogen that can maybe not. No.
No, believe it or not, the number one answer we got was no one has ever asked me. The second one is
wow,
the
what a
fear,
surprise.
the fear of the needle. It was the second one, but that was the first one. So people need to be asked. People need to be invited. Marcelo, we have a blood drive on Friday. Please come and help. There's a for one reason that I don't know the answer to this, Marcelo. There are a lot of children with cancer in El Paso. A lot of children with leukemia being treated here, and so they use a ton of blood, and so that's why I say education is important. Besides that, Marcelo, 'cause I know we don't have a lot of time, I'll give you the benefits for you as a blood donor. And so, for example, us men never lose blood like women naturally lose blood throughout their lives. And so we don't lose blood. So we carry a lot of iron in our bodies. And you always heard iron is not good. How often do we hear antioxidant, right?
Yes.
Take antioxidant pills or drink wine because it helps you. Well, men who give blood regularly remove some of that iron back outside of our bodies, and it makes our organs, everything inside, healthier. And so there are benefits about giving blood besides the benefits for the patient. So
huge benefits.
Yeah. So I always say about that. And then the other one is, you get a mini physical. I cannot tell you how many people have found out that they have high blood pressure by trying to donate. The other day, a friend of mine found out that he had a problem with his heart because we listened to your heartbeat. He had an arrhythmia that he never knew about. And so you get a mini physical. Number 3, and I'll put you on the spot. Do you know your blood type?
Oh man, I knew you were gonna ask that question, man. I knew it. Yeah, my blood type.
Something.
I'll be honest with you, man. Yeah. I did the research because I knew you were going to be on the show, but I don't know.
And that's fine. A lot of people don't know. So it's another perk. You get to know your blood type. And we always say all educated people should know your blood type. It's an important part of who you are. And so anyway, I'm just trying to gather the benefits for the donors, the benefits for the people who receive the blood. Every time they ask me if I want to donate, I always say, okay, do I want to take the needle giving blood or perhaps at the hospital? Because when you're in a hospital, they're going to put some IV and you're going to take the needle as well. I'd rather give the needle, and I always choose to donate than to receive it. And so anyway, so a little bit of information, because I always think that the more information, it will probably make it easier for someone to decide, whoever's listening to us right now, to make that decision and go and donate maybe for their first time.
No, definitely. That second point that you bring up, I think it was valuable, Martin, because us men, we're not very good about getting physicals. We're not good about getting an annual exam, which is important. And a lot of us tend to have heart issues. And like you said, I think blood pressure and heart issues, well, we know for a fact, statistics show that heart problems are the number one cause of death in Americans. But if we can prevent that by getting a mini physical with you guys and getting some of that out of the way, it's golden advice.
Oh yeah. There was a time, Marcelo, that there was this guy at a car dealership. We're having a blood drive. He comes to try and donate. His blood count is so low, we think there's a mistake with our equipment. We take another sample, because we take a sample of blood from your finger. So we do another test because he's incredibly low. And turns out that he is so low that we recommended he seek medical attention.
What were some of his symptoms?
Well, he then said he was actually very pale. He felt tired,
fatigued.
I don't know why he came. Maybe he came just to see, what we would say. Turns out that we come back to that same place months later. He comes to us. He says, "I can't thank you enough, because that day After your recommendation, I went to the doctors. He went to the emergency room, Marcelo. I don't know what he was doing, trying to donate blood. Turns out he had an internal bleeding, very small, and he was treated on time, and he had to undergo surgery. And so he comes and says, we thank you because through you, I found out that I needed this. So again, I could talk all day about the benefits around giving blood. Sadly, the statistics, Marcelo, say that only about 3% of the eligible population donate. 3% of Americans. Think about that. There's a 3%. Very small group of donors that are carrying the responsibility of having an ample blood supply. And I always have to bring this. I know we don't want to remember the situation, but we had the tragic event here in El Paso with the Walmart shooting.
Yes.
Marcelo, had it not been because we had just had a huge blood drive 2 weeks before those tragic events, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, we had the blood. We sent, I think the numbers is in the first 24 hours between Del Sol and UMC, which is where the patients were taken to, over 200 units of blood in the first 24 hours. In those moments, Marcelo, the blood needs to be there. There's no time for hundreds of people coming to donate because we have to take the blood. We have to send it to the lab to get tested. It takes 24 to 48 hours to have a unit of blood ready. But when the need is there, it needs to be ready in our shelves.
Yes.
And so we always remind people, we must be prepared as a community for anything. It could be any catastrophe. Now, let
me ask you this question also, Martín. Since nuestros hermanos de Juárez, por ejemplo, ellos sí necesitan también, por ejemplo, sangre también. ¿Colaboramos con ellos también? Do we collaborate with them?
Colaboramos con ellos en emergencias. Hay veces que viene alguien de Ciudad Juárez para una emergencia de un tipo muy raro, como un O negativo. They'll come and say, hey, can I get some help? Can I get some O negative blood? And so we help them.
That's good.
Of course, we help them.
And as far as I would imagine it's reciprocal. So do you guys get together and talk a little bit about the universal precautions, perhaps, about being able to donate blood and making it safe for everybody?
Between both cities, you mean? No.
And even Las Cruces.
Yeah, Las Cruces, of course, Las Cruces, El Paso, we are one. FDA guidelines and CDC regulations prohibit us using blood from Mexico. So we cannot do that, but we help them. They can use our blood. But FDA, we were regulated by the FDA, Marcelo, with very strict guidelines, as you can imagine. And so, but we work with them when they need it.
And thank you for sharing that, because since we live here in a border city, I think we, should be aware of what's going on and what the guidelines are, for sure.
Speaking of the border, Marcelo, one of the things that I always stress of people like me, yo que vengo de Chihuahua, siempre pensamos que hay que donar sangre para mi abuelita si está en el hospital. Because in Mexico, the system is family and friends. You only donate for your family and friends when they need it. You never donate for a stranger. We're here in the United States. It's all voluntary donations where you donate for somebody that you will never meet. And so it takes education for some of us that are first generation to adapt that the blood donation in this country is different than en nuestros países hermanos como México y todo Centro y Sudamérica. Porque allá el sistema es familiar. It's called a replacement system. Little by little it's been changing. Ha ido cambiando poco a poco. Ya en Ciudad Juárez también se escucha la palabra campañas de sangre. Ya también allá hay más información, pero ha sido más lento.
Okay.
Pero ahí va. Ahí va.
Okay. It's good to know. Good information to know. So who is a person who 100% qualifies health-wise, and who are candidates? Candidatos que a lo mejor no pueden donar sangre. What are the guidelines, the requirements?
Yeah. The guidelines are very easy. Most of us qualify. In this room, I would say we all qualify. You need to be a minimum of 16 years old. Okay, so 16 with parent permission.
Ajá. Ya están reclutando, ¿eh?
Ya estoy
Para que ustedes
reclutando.
también se apunten,
17-year-old and older. So there is no age limit as far as going up, Marcelo. You can be 100 years old and donate blood. And I say this because in Mexico, you can only donate until a certain age, I think 55 or 65, I think, and that's it, no more. Where here, I see donors in their 80s, 70s. As long as you're healthy, there is no such thing as old blood, right? Because our blood is always, we're always producing new blood. And then the minimum weight is 110 pounds.
110 pounds.
I think Marcelo and I qualify easy. And then the third we say just be healthy. In other words, not have a cold or flu, a stomach ache. No.
What about a history of say like hepatitis or something?
Well,
like that?
so yeah, when it gets if you had hepatitis after the age of 11, you can never give blood. But if you had it as a child, chances are it was type A, just viral. You have stomach ache, and you can donate. But after the age of 11, no more. Another thing I get asked a lot is tattoos. Okay?
Yeah, is that a myth or is that true?
Well, it used to be that you had to wait a year, but for many years now, tattoos are welcome. I always joke about this, and I said the only tattoos we do not accept are ugly tattoos or misspells.
There you go.
We reject those.
No regrets.
Right. No regrets. No, tattoos are fine as long as you did it at a place with a license here in Texas, and the same goes for piercing. Those places are so regulated now that you can get a tattoo in the morning and give blood in the afternoon.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really
so that's
good news.
no longer an excuse. And then we ask that you just pass of course, the mini physical and give us 45 minutes of your day, and make and as you said when we started this show, save a life. You know, you really save lives. I mean, it's real. One really cool thing we have here, Marcelo, is that when the blood bag that you donated leaves the center, you get a text on real time that says your blood is on its way to save a life.
Oh,
and it's on real time. You know, you get the message and like, wow. Sometimes it's like, I just gave 3 days ago. That's how quickly we move blood, because blood expires.
Oh, it
Red
does.
cells expire in 42 days.
So if it's not used, what happens?
If it's not used, we would have to destroy it. But I will tell you that that hardly ever happens. We use it.
Rare case scenario.
Rare case. I mean, you're like less than 1% of the blood is expired. And so there's always a need. And then here in El Paso, we conduct blood drives in businesses, churches. You'll see us at the malls sometimes. We have some really large blood drives. We partner with Barnett Harley Davidson. In July and in January, we give away a Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Oh, nice.
One lucky donor walks away with a bike just for giving blood.
Wow.
Now you're talking about 2,000 blood donors
in
one weekend, as you can imagine.
That is cool.
Yeah. So we have, we know that we have to have fun with this. You know, you think about blood and right away people get scared. So we add some fun to it. We have raffles. We create T-shirts. And when we have a blood drive, we decorate. Just try to make it a fun,
very engaging.
Yeah, engaging
for
event.
a lot of people.
Exactly, because we want it to be a good experience.
Good. I'm so happy that you guys are doing what you're doing. I would like for you to share with us a story. So many years working at the blood bank, maybe a story that perhaps you said, "Wow, this because of what we're doing, you know." This person was able to get a second shot at life.
Wow. So there are so many stories. Marcelo, I don't know. I don't think we have time. Maybe you'll have me another day to share my story. My story is the reason why I work here. But a story that has ended up in a positive, you know, we once get a phone call from Providence and say, hey, there is a young girl here who is O negative, and we don't have enough blood. And the father went out to the media and invited O negative people who live in El Paso to come donate, and we need some help. And I said, okay, how many people are we talking about? And so I went there thinking maybe it was 5, 6, 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
There must have been about close to 100 people that came as part of the message. And so immediately we sent one bus, and then we sent a second bus. And we had, next thing you know, we had 3 buses lined up. People showed up with canopies and chairs and water and cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And we were saying the wait is long, and nobody cared. And the reason was that the young girl was on the 5th floor, and she drew a sign, say thank you. And people were waving at her from the blood drive, from the parking lot. We could see this girl thanking, and the father actually came down. He was a military man.
Mm-hmm.
He came down to personally thank everyone who waited. Sadly, Marcelo, sometimes people react to situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an accident, maybe a police officer getting injured in the line of duty, and we have hundreds of people. The Walmart shooting got us 4,000 people in a week.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, and I want to stress this, every day, Marcelo, there is somebody who might not show up in the news that is needing blood. Mm-hmm. It could be a mother who just had a baby, and she wants to be able to hug her baby, and she needs blood. And sometimes there is not enough. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it gets to a critical point where hospitals have to determine who gets the blood, you know, and we never want to go there, because I say that our community is big enough to not have shortages, but it takes that decision for you to say, okay, I'm going to overcome my fears, and I'm going to go and stretch my arm and give life. Mm-hmm. And I invite the community, if you have never donated blood, to become a donor. If you have not donated in a while, you can donate 5 to 6 times a year. Mm-hmm. I'll be happy if you do it once.
Yes.
That's how frequent you can donate. And
is that true that you guys pay for blood also? Like you guys pay people?
So no, sometimes we get confused with the plasma centers, Marcelo. Mm-hmm. The plasma centers do pay, but the plasma they collect is not transfusible. Mm-hmm. It's not used at hospitals. The plasma and the blood that we collect is all used for human transfusion, and the law does not allow us to pay. We give you a T-shirt, a movie ticket, sometimes a gift card, a beanie like the one you're wearing. We do beanies in the winter.
It'd be good to wear one.
But no money.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it's just one of those things. Sometimes you hear, hey, I went to go donate blood, and I went to go sell blood. They say sometimes, but
right.
But it's good to know. It's good to know and clarify everything.
Ready for another trivia question before we finish?
Sure. Go ahead. Go at it.
What part of our body produces blood?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Because you donate a pint and then you get it again.
Giselle, la pregunta también es para ustedes, ¿eh?
¿Qué parte de tu cuerpo produce sangre?
Okay.
Where is blood made? In your heart? Okay. People say that a lot. The heart is just the pump.
The organs, no.
Okay. And the organs? No, the organs don't produce blood. They need blood. Mm-hmm. Some people say the liver. No. That one filters the blood. Okay. Ready? Yeah. Inside of your bones.
Inside your bone. Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
You ever heard of the bone marrow?
Yes.
You ever heard of that tuetanito that you eat with a tortilla and salt and Juarez?
Yep. Yes, I have.
That's the blood. That's the bone marrow.
Wow.
So blood is made in our bones, and our biggest bone is our hips. Mm-hmm. So your blood, it's made in every little bone in your body, in your fingers, in your hand, in your knees. Mm-hmm. But the main one is in your hips. So your body is constantly producing red cells, platelets, white cells inside of your bones. Okay, so you learned a lot of new things today, Marcelo.
I did, and I really want to thank you for that, because believe it or not, time has already creeped up on us, but this has been one of the most interesting interviews that we've done for the LHP podcast. We want to thank you for being with us today. It was an awesome talk, and we hope that you can come back and join us and talk to us a little bit about your personal experience.
Yeah. That's kind of a long story. It's not a really... it's very touching for me. I lost my mother for not having O negative blood in Juarez. Although I tried so hard to get it, I could not get it on time. And so now I know firsthand by losing, my dear mother. Imagine, I'm the youngest of a family of 4. And to have your mother die in your arms, knowing that maybe had the blood been there, she could have been alive. She was only 63 years old. She lost her life due to not having blood on the shelves. So you can only imagine my passion about telling people, give blood, because you never want to be in a position where you're holding your child, your mother, and you literally, you see him go. You see the heart stop because there is no blood and there is no substitute for blood. So please, maybe another day, Marcelo, I'll share my story. But I want to end it with remove the fears. Go out and give. If you see a blood drive, if somebody invites you to go, go. It makes a big difference for somebody in a hospital today.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
And as a clinician, one of the questions that I always ask some of my clients when I'm doing coaching or some sort of therapy is that I always ask them to envision them being a superhero. What superhero power would you have? A lot of them answer with, I'd like to be invisible or I'd like to fly. But today, in today's podcast, we're able to convert you into a superhero simply by just going to the blood bank and donating your blood. So, awesome podcast today. We thank you guys for watching. And if you guys are interested in the content that we're producing, please hit that like button, subscribe, and support us. Thank you. We'll see you next week.